Welcome to the Alpha Pickleball Podcast, where we slice through the noise to bring you the juiciest insights, strategies, and stories from the dynamic world of pickleball. Join us as we serve up engaging conversations with top players, coaches, and enthusiasts, giving you an ace perspective on all things pickleball. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just stepping onto the court, get ready for a volley of knowledge that'll elevate your game to alpha levels. Let the rallies begin.
All right, welcome again to the show. I'm your host, Tats. Today's guest is Stefan Vern, pro pickleballer, and many other talents. Stefan, thank you for coming on the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Just real quick, how'd you get into pickleball?
It kind of happened randomly, to be honest. I was actually working out at a CrossFit gym, and I saw some of the members there playing, and I was mind blown that I have never seen that sport, especially kind of growing up playing tennis. And then I was hooked after trying it out, and within 2 weeks, it took over my life.
I know you took tennis seriously, and I think you had other interests as well. Like I think video gaming you took seriously.
Yeah. So tennis was pretty like early on, as in like I would say, I don't know, from 3 to like 16 was probably when I took tennis pretty serious. By 16, I knew I was over it and burnt out and ready to move on. And that's where kind of gaming started to creep in. I mean, obviously I was always into gaming growing up, but it became pretty serious when I was 16 years old, as I got into the competitive scene and had some success doing it. And then, yeah, it became pretty serious for me.
Yeah, I mean, and now with pickleball, you've seen some success. I'm always curious because obviously you have some sort of pattern of behavior. You probably have some systems or little things that you do that sort of help you gain sort of mastery or proficiency in that. I mean, walk me through, some of your thoughts around that.
So with gaming or pickleball or
Anything. I mean, obviously, I think, whenever I see someone that's sort of repeated success in multiple areas, I tend to think there's a pattern of behavior that works for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do definitely notice that with myself. And what I can say is, number one, I love the grind. I love like pouring everything into something to try to get like 1% better than somebody else. So with that, so I think that's a good foundation when you're kind of going all in into something. I think another big one is early on, I kind of have an honest conversation with myself, in that I'm like, okay, I feel like there's an opportunity here. So I see an opportunity. I try to understand what are my strengths and weaknesses. And usually if I feel like I can't really overcome those weaknesses, or, if you want to play basketball and you're too short, I mean, that's going to be difficult to overcome, right? So something simple like that kind of having that conversation with yourself and being like, okay, this is what I need to overcome to get better. And I might have some like natural talent or skills that are already there that'll help me accelerate the process. And I think that's exactly kind of what happened in all these like chapters of my life, where I was able to do that early on and then make a decision and kind of stick to it, and then really go all in and put in the time, because it's going to take a lot of time and sacrifice.
Yeah. Now, understanding that you have I think a computer science degree. I mean, I'm just trying to picture, do you have spreadsheets, prioritization, or just say, hey, this is the most important thing. I'm going to spend a ton of time on it. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think the prioritization is important. Like, I guess having the discipline to know that you're going to have to put a lot of time into a craft is super important. And then I think making sacrifices to accomplish that is going to have to happen. And yeah, I mean, I definitely, I didn't go crazy with like Excel spreadsheets or anything like that, but I like to think my engineering background did help with like some structure in how I approach some problems.
Okay. Well, with pickleball, like, how did you start your training program and how did it progress?
Um, so I mean, I just started kind of playing a lot with friends, and then obviously you try to find more competitive games, and then as you begin to take it more seriously, I definitely like started drilling a lot more, and that's where again you want to. I tried pinpointing some of the weaknesses and then focusing on those to try to improve and kind of just have a better, well-rounded game and improve my skills overall. So a combination of the rec play, but then also being mindful of what I need to do to get better, and then doing drilling to fix those issues, and then just seeing it progress and just continuing to refine it over and over and over.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the matches I've seen in the past is you were playing some mix, I guess, with Simone and
Mhm.
APP.
Yep.
I mean, she's been around for a very long time. What did you learn from her?
I mean, so I think she was what stood out to me when I played with her is kind of her ability to create have offense. Like she attacked really well, so she could be the steady partner and dink and then let me come in and take over. But then she could also create, and then I was ready for like the counters. And I think that was really awesome because then it kind of gave us different options. And I think that's one thing I definitely learned. And really kind of looked for then when I was picking teammates, is that ability and strength for sure.
I'm always curious because I'm a lefty, as well. When you're playing lefty mixed, I mean, what considerations? I mean, not everyone does. But, you don't see a lot of lefty mixed pairings. But for you, what did you notice? Any adjustments or strategies being a lefty playing mixed?
I mean, I think to me one concern is like, okay, is my partner comfortable on the left if I'm playing on the right as the lefty? Um, and I think that's super important. And then I wouldn't say it's so then obviously the patterns are going to be different because the girl might be across from another girl, and I'm going to be across from the guy if they're in a a righty combination or something like that. So then knowing that is going to change the patterns a little bit. So then I want my partner to be comfortable with that. And then there's slightly different shots and different strategies to master when you're in that setup versus the more diagonal or the standard standard combination of when you're playing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, hitting in front of you, being sort of the female player has got to be a skill set.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then there's like more opportunities to earning maybe or things like that. So it definitely it's a skill. It's a skill for sure.
For sure. And I mean, for you, that is a great partnership. I mean, what's the key to getting partnerships? Because those could be difficult sometimes.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to results. If somebody's having good results, that's usually going to help quite a bit. Um, I want to say, being a good teammate, win or lose, you kind of want to try to make it a good experience or as best of an experience as you can. At least for me, that's super important. I know I really enjoy playing with somebody that I feel comfortable with and that I know is going to be very serious, but then also can have a good time and just be fun to play with, essentially.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. I know you were an endorsed athlete. Not everyone is. What tips do you have other than dominating at pickleball? But what sort of tips do you have on sort of securing endorsements?
Oh, endorsements.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know if I'm the strongest one in that field. To me, I've always just been focused on on my game and trying to get better. To me, it just all boils down to, are you going to win more? For me, now others are going to do a much better job with like social media and marketing themselves and kind of building their own brand, which is extremely valuable. And I think some do a great job of securing like other deals that way. I just personally tend to favor more the, okay, let me just be the best player I can be, and then try to get deals that way, as opposed to putting a lot of time and energy in the marketing side of things.
Got it. I know. I think you played MLP, correct?
Yes. And
What did you learn from that experience? Because the scoring is different, the format's different, you got new partnerships. What are some tips there?
so, I mean, again, like I said, the new partnerships. So, being able to adapt to a new play style. So learning the strengths and weaknesses of somebody you might not be used to playing with. So then that might change my game a little bit. And so I think it's important to be able to adapt that way. Um, then obviously the rally scoring will change the dynamic of the matches, and that every point counts. So I think it favors consistency a lot more, and just trying to get the ball in play like one more time, as opposed to maybe being super aggressive and going for like really big shots that you might be able to more easily do in like a standard scoring system.
Sure.
There's no switching on the rally scoring, so that could, I think it's an advantage. I know from my experience and in general, usually you might lose some points when you try to switch, or when you're stacking with your partner.
Yeah,
So getting rid of that in the rally scoring can help. Um, so yeah, I think those are kind of the big ones that
that's true for lefty. I mean, if you're not having to unwind, then you're just, you're so optimized for that side.
exactly, yeah. So I do like that element of it for sure.
Yeah, so you talked about skill sets in mix, but what about, being a lefty? What specific skill sets do you need, playing the right as a lefty?
I mean, I've always been kind of a big fan and believer of like the Ernies. So, if your forehand's in the middle, it kind of gives you, in my opinion, more opportunities to Ernie, or at least even if you're not winning points that way, it kind of closes off the angles a little bit for your opponents, and you could kind of direct their play a little bit more. So I think that's an important one. And especially as the game is progressing and everybody is better and better athletes, they're going to be able to jump further and further over the kitchen. So I think that we'll see improvements in that regards. And I think for me also, being able to adapt into like a more aggressive role if needed, or being able to be the more steady partner, and create space, or just keep the ball in play as long as possible, to let your partner kind of be aggressive. I think kind of switching back and forth between those roles is, in my opinion, pretty important.
Like between partnerships, or like on the day, who's playing better, or what angles are giving them trouble? What are
In
you
a
referring to?
perfect world, I'd love to do it on like with the same partner in like a given day. And like you said, either from a strategic like incentive, where you would want to go like, okay, this is our strategy. It makes more sense for you to be aggressive, and have it happen that way, or just simply do it. Okay, I'm feeling really good today. Let me be a little bit aggressive and see if I could make something happen. So I think having that option is nice. Doesn't have to happen, but I enjoy when that is an option.
Yeah, for sure. And what are you working on now to try to improve?
I think a lot of having different options when dinking is a big one. Like, a backhand slice dink is great, but now I really like to kind of master like the backhand roll dink, and then knowing when to kind of apply which one. So there's always a situation where it's going to be better to use one or the other. So not only mastering those different shots, but then knowing exactly when to apply the right one. So that would be an example, yeah, of something I'm kind of actively working on.
Yeah, and I know you have a fitness background.
Mhm.
Um, how does that relate to your training in pickleball? What sort of things you look at there?
I think, to me, like the fitness is really like comes down to, okay, being disciplined, sticking to a schedule, um, tweaking little things, and like your training routine and things like that to improve whatever you want to improve on. So I think that kind of translates nicely. Obviously, pickleball is becoming extremely like athletic, and a lot of, as all the athletes are getting better, it's important to be, I think, physically fit to handle like the long matches and all the obstacles. So I think that was obviously helpful starting off, and I'm continuing to invest time in my fitness, and hopefully it'll pay off.
Awesome. What are your future goals with pickleball?
Future goals with pickleball. I mean, I think, it's such an exciting sport right now and it's booming. And I think I just really want to continue being involved with it. And that could mean different things. But for me, it's definitely being able to continue performing and, kind of establishing myself as a top contender. And then, even with the kind of rising talent to stay in the mix. That is probably my biggest goal right now, for sure.
Awesome. Is there anything I didn't ask but you wanted to share?
Yeah, I don't know. Did a good job covering a variety of topics. Yeah,
Awesome.
nothing special comes to mind.
Awesome, Stefan. Thank you for sharing. Continued success to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to the Alpha Pickleball Podcast with Tats. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, rate, and connect with us on social media. Stay alpha on the pickleball court. Until our next session.